Okay, so if you could give me your name, what you do, your business, just kind
Yeah.
of describe yourself.
My name's Adam Kroener. I'm the co-founder of Carbliss Handcrafted Cocktails, and our business is a cocktail in a can, super flavorful, vodka lemonade, vodka cranberry, but with the appealing nutrition panel that seltzers have, which is 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 100 calories, and all gluten-free.
Okay, so you're a veteran, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. What branch did you serve in?
Army National Guard,
Okay, what was your MLS?
92 Alpha.
Which is
I had to dig deep for that. Automated Logistics Specialist.
okay. How many years were you in?
Just short of 6. I think it was 5.5.
Okay. Did you deploy?
Yes, I did a deployment to Iraq from '07 to '08.
Okay. What when you got out, what was life like for you?
Um, it was different. I've never struggled with being away from home, but I would say that big of a separation and the unknown was weird. I'd say the biggest thing when I got back that was weird for me was realizing how much life went on. The development out by Fond du Lac Festival Foods didn't exist when I left. Came back, entire outlet mall built up, and it was just this immediate recognition that life goes on whether Adam's not here or he is, and definitely made me have to figure some things out.
Okay. Did you was there any struggle for you as far as like transitioning back into a normal work life, like working for other people or punching a time clock, anything like that?
From a work-life perspective, I stayed home for 2 weeks and I jumped right back into work. That's just kind of my personality. I just always need to be going. It actually did make me realize from the transition from Iraq and then into working in the business was how much I really didn't like people telling me what to do and when to do it.
So what made you want to own your own business, or when did you decide that that's the path that you wanted to take?
That's a big, long answer. I've always had a desire to own my own business. I always look at, like, when we were kids, people often idolize, the Brett Favres of the world. I always tended, even as I was growing up in business, I idolized CEOs, COOs, entrepreneurs, things of that nature. Actually started a business with my brother and dad in 2014, 2013 maybe, and it lasted maybe 10 months to a year. Learned a lot of what not to do in that situation, but I love cars and motorcycles, always dreamed of doing something in that world and thought that's where I would be. Making a cocktail in a can, I like to drink, but I don't do it a ton, and this just ended up being a passion thing for me where it was like, this doesn't exist, what we have is awesome, and I need to share it with as many people as I can.
Okay. What do you enjoy most about being self-made, self-employed?
So I think, every business owner's dream is like, oh, well, I'm going to have all this freedom. And that, you realize very quickly, isn't the case if you're going to really hustle and get after it. The biggest thing that has been my dream come true is when I worked for other people, even in leadership roles, there was still like what people told me I had to do, right? And I could only operate within this realm. And with this being our business, we get to do what we want. We've got 11 full-time employees right now. 50% of those, one sitting not too far behind you, when we follow up and have reviews with them, they basically say, I don't feel like this is a job. I enjoy what I do. And that could be detrimental if they suck, but they're all freaking awesome. So the fact that they execute and they do an amazing job, they love what they do, that to me is worth more than anything money can buy.
Can you tell me a little bit about how this started? Like, where were you and what were you doing when you decided that, Carbliss was the way you were going to go?
Yeah, so my wife and I were doing keto in 2018. I drank a lot of vodka, water, lemon, lime because I knew it had no carbs, no sugar. Seltzers were taking off. We were with some friends. A friend of mine gave me a popular seltzer. I thought it was way too carbonated, not enough flavor, and didn't drink it. Went home and actually started mixing stuff up with vodka. I didn't know that the big brands of the world were beer-based. And very quickly, friends and family said it was great. I figured somebody else did it, went to the store, bought $500 worth of stuff, could not find it to exist. And after a month or two, I'm getting sick of carrying my bottle of vodka and ice like on the boat and to the beach. So I started asking people like in bars and restaurants, why are you drinking that? Insert name brand seltzer. And the answers I would get is it's low carb, it's low sugar, it's low calorie. I'm like, do you like the taste? 9 times out of 10, the best answer I would get is, it's okay. And I'm like, the first one I made was our lemon, which was a vodka lemonade. No carbs, no sugar. And I was like, well, imagine you could have a vodka lemonade with no carbs and no sugar. Oh yeah, I'd much rather drink that. Now, I didn't get a 4-year degree, but if you did, they would tell you that if you asked that question of 300 people and decided to put a large chunk of your life savings into it and start a business, you're an idiot. But we've been on the shelf for 3 years and here we are now.
Well, so that was going to be my next question. You've been in business for about 3 years now?
Yep. So the business was technically formulated in 2018, and then about a year later is when we were on shelf. So September of 2019 is when we first launched.
Okay. Can you describe that journey a little bit from, I guess, just how the company's evolved since you first started to where you're at now? Can you put that into words a little bit?
Yeah, so 2019, when we launched with a manufacturer near here, and they made a product that leaked quite a bit. And then we moved to a new manufacturer, and then COVID hit, and then they had issues with their machinery, and we had no revenue for 4 months. But my wife and I were continuing to work full time. So for the first 2 years, starting a CPG business is insane. Our first few years, were multiple 6 figures to the negative. And we were working to basically fund that loss. Towards the end of 2020, we decided to bring on an investor for a small portion of the business. That investment allowed me to leave my job. And then we hired our first person, Amelia. She started the same day I did. And we hired a head of business development about a month after that. He's been a blessing. My wife and I know business. We didn't know elk bev, but our growth has been insane. Year 1 to year 2, even with the issues, was about 400%. Year 2 to year 3, which was finishing off last year, we were at about 600%. And this year we're on pace for about 1,000. So it's been crazy. Last year, the same amount of cases that we sold 2.5 times that in last month.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome. I was going to ask something. It slipped my mind. Okay, yeah. Was there ever a point where you were doing this that you thought it's not going to work? Like did you ever think about giving up? Did you ever think about quitting? Did you ever think about just going back to,
I would say
life?
Prior to being in the business full time, it definitely crossed my mind. So alcohol is very regulated from the Federal Tobacco and Trade Bureau. So just to get on the shelf, we have to have a liquid which gets approved by them, and then they see our label, which we designed, and then they have to prove that. That was revised 17 times. We launched about 2 months late because of it. And they kept changing their mind on what the laws were. And it was one of those things where I had an hour drive to work at that time. Like, you get an email at 5 a.m. that it's denied for the 13th time, and your mind starts going, is the world trying to tell me not to do this? A couple months later, you see it on the shelf, and that's an overwhelming thing of emotion to have this liquid. The label was designed by my wife and I. The writing was designed by my daughter and then revamped for print by Casey, used to be Mertens, now Casey Suttner.
Okay.
And so it's like just this very personal thing. And we had so many things just knock us in the teeth, and it's definitely crossed our mind, but I'm also like the type of person that every time I get kicked down, like when I get up, I'm gonna look at, okay, I definitely learned from that, I'm gonna try to duck next time, and then, what do I need to do to keep it moving? Since I've been in the business full time, it's just been constant growth and looking at like the next thing we have to grab to improve the business and make sure that the team has just their sole focus and not having to worry about the minutia.
Do you have any advice that you would give to other veterans that want to start their own business?
I think step one is just start. I've realized now, like now that I've done this cocktail thing, like if you said, Adam, you need to now sell pens and make your own business, I have a very good idea on how to figure it out. If you told me I'd need to sell boxes, I have a very good idea on how to figure it out. I know nothing about either of those markets, but just the methodical piece of going through it taught me so much. And I think ultimately that mixed with pride generally only costs money. It doesn't ever make you money. I reach out to anybody I know and I'm always taking in information, and you might be an industry expert and I'll sit down with you for 2 hours and I'll take 100% of what you brought in, write it down, take it in, and then I'll probably use 3 to 10% of it and apply it to my business based on the experience that we've had and how our product works. And I cannot speak more highly of our team. Like, we have focused very much on hiring the right people to the point where we've waited 8 months. And in this market, I think a lot of people have stopped doing that. But by doing that, we've created a great environment that allows people to thrive. We've hired professionals and we trust them. So when we can't do it anymore as an entrepreneur, that's when you bring somebody on. And I think a lot of people like to micromanage that stuff, but we've tried our best to just give full control, and I'm paying you to do a job. Please kick butt, and when you need support, that's what I'm here for. So I think it's start, ask questions, and just keep moving. You're gonna get knocked down. My social media, I'm sure, looks like we're doing very well, right? But on a weekly basis, there's generally a holy crap, what are we gonna do? And it's not looking at it as, oh my God, we failed. It's okay, this is something we weren't anticipating, we learned from it, get up, keep moving. And so start, ask questions, learn, keep moving.
Okay. Well, that's all I had. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Again,
Thanks,
Adam, thank you for taking the time. Adam Kroener, Carbliss. I'm Jason Turner, Executive Director of Salute the Troops. Check us out at www.salutethetropes.wi.org.